Good evening, everybody. Good night, or no, good evening. I think is what you say when you say hello.
Talking Dirty
with Maestro.
Not just numbers,
not just stats.
it's about what they mean.
I'm going to send to you the information.
Talking Dirty.
Hello and welcome to Talkin Durty with your boy. Me. Hey fam, how's everybody doing? Few more days left to go. Kicks off tomorrow. Last dance, can't wait. Excited about it. We've been talking about these matchups. We've been talking about this matchup. We even got an extra week to talk about it. And let's kind of get into just a couple of matches that I want to revisit here. Excited about what's going to happen over these next couple of days, leading us into the second half of the tournament. One is team we haven't really talked about Coach Devontae Porter's G5 going up against Indy. That's a pick'em game. Looking at it from the standpoint of Indy's been real inconsistent in terms of their performance this year. They've not been completely effective as a transition team. Neither have they been completely effective as a half-court team. Gotham 5 has been dominant in spots, very dominant in spots, but still not consistent to the point where they get the attention I think that they need or deserve. So I think this game is going to be about who finds their footing first. And I know you can say that about any game, but let's stay with me for what I'm talking about here. Whichever team is able to get their defense to offensive set comfortable first is going to have the best chance in this. That's just how it is. Both teams are strong in that aspect, and when that part of their game works, their whole game works. Other than that, though, this game is on my list of games that can become either one of the most exciting games of the week or one of the ugliest in terms of how they're going to play out. Another game I'm thinking about here this weekend that in terms of I'm going to call it the bad luck matchup. That is Bay Area Breakers against Latin America. You have one two-title team going against a single title team. And this is just bad luck matchup. Both teams, I think, deserved, I want to say a lesser pairing, but maybe not as challenging a pairing as what they got. Two past champions, one double champion going against each other. Dealing with that on that particular level is, as a first round matchup, it's like buzzard's luck all the way together. I think this game is going to be really good. It's going to be about who's able to score. And, okay, before you roll your eyes, just hear me out. When I say who's going to be able to score, who's going to be able to be in control of their scoring as they go through the game. We know both teams play very differently. Latin America is selective in the transition in terms of how they're able to work their transition a half-court game. We also know that their breakers are a defensive-centered to transition power team, to say it that way under Coach Pope. But Akamura is really good. The coach of Latin America is really good at resetting everybody we're playing against. We know their tournament win this season was completely dominated by their offensive play, where they just quite frankly just ran everybody else into the ground. And when you have a player like Pablo Guzman, you can do that. So that's the Buzz Lux matchup. Really curious to see how that's going to play out. Another matchup that I found really interesting this week is looking at Queen City Kings and Europe, only because both teams have, I'm going to say this respectfully, underperformed this year. in terms of how we look at them. Both Abe Jackson just needs to be sure that with Queen City Kings, there need be no turnovers. If they don't turn the ball over, this is a game that they can take. Except Europe is so strong in disrupting their opponent, turning the ball over, getting in transition. So this is a style makes fight thing, right? You have a team that doesn't that turns the ball over, Queen City Kings, that often gets them in trouble, and a team that forces turnovers a lot, and that is Europe. So how is that going to play out ultimately? I think it's going to determine the route of this particular game. It'll be really interesting to see. We got a couple other I want to talk about on the other side.
Thank you for listening to the Maestro. Want to get involved? Bring it.
Drop in discord.gg/SimWorld Hoops.
If you have the brain, join as a coach. If you have the game,
join as a player.
see the game, be the game.
game.
Now, back to the Maestro.
Sorry. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back.
And welcome back to Talkin Dirty with your boy. One game, I'm really curious to see how it's going to ultimately play out, only because of the nature of what's on the line for both teams. That is Southeast Select under Brad Lee, and the AT Aliens under Coach Marcus Wood. Brad Lee's Southeast Select can score the ball like nobody's business. I mean, they can put the bucket in the biscuit, no issue with that at all. And the AT Aliens either go on a scoring run that's out of this world, or they completely struggle. The path of this game is going to be determined if the AT Aliens are able to put themselves in a position to score consistently enough to run with Southeast Select. And as long as Southeast Select, if they could make Southeast Select have a drought. When I say a drought, I'm talking about 2.5, 3 minutes of not being able to score. That's going to give the AT Aliens a chance that they can reciprocate that default, or I should say that deficit, with them being able to score. Then yeah, they're going to be it's going to be a lot closer than what I think people think it's going to be. We know that first round of tournament game can be difficult, challenging. You're ramped up for it, then having to wait another week. The energy is going to be going. I think the first 4 minutes of this game, not the first 5, but the first 4 minutes of this game is really going to give us an idea of who came ready to play versus who is still trying to figure out how to tie up their shoes right now. And that's going to make that game extremely interesting across the table. And lastly, a game that I think this is probably Maestro's pick of the most curious of all the games this week, and that is BTA on the Coach CC Lytle. CC Lytle. sorry, Coach. I know I shouldn't do that, but I'm sorry, just what it is. Coach CC Lytle's Beyond the Arc against Coach Nick Keish's Gulf Coast lockdown. And the reason I say this is kind of my pick to really see what's going to play out, because both teams in their way kind of have something to show. BTA, I feel, are in a position that they need to show and want to show that they are who they are in terms of the real deal this year, in terms of how they play ball, that more traditional brand of stop and start basketball, that inside out game, and defensive stalwart that they play around. Also, their ability to have so many players that can contribute at any given time. On the other side, Gulf Coast simply, I think, again, this is an outside looking in, Gulf Coast is really about trying to get a string of wins under their belt. It was a very difficult season for a lot of different teams. We've seen the players talk about it, the sparsity of the games, the distance and the time distance in between games, things like that, that really made it challenging. So you find yourself doing more of that AAU book work, coursework, than playing in some cases. When you played, it was all on the table. Now, again, I'll say what I said before. That's going to prepare a lot of the cats for a better future in SimWorld U and moving forward from that. And the reality of it is, a team like the AT Aliens, I think, suffered the most in that it seems though they were getting their performances together. Also, they didn't have any games. Back to the classroom. Everybody learns differently. Everybody develops differently. That's a fight across the table, no doubt about it. However, it's the reality of this, what you have to deal with. You can only play the games that are in front of you. You can only play the games you're scheduled for, and you can only play in the system that you have. So, all that being said, suck it up, Buttercup. It's just the reality of it. And for any of the players, I'm not saying that anybody from the AT Aliens was complaining. That's not what this is about. This is just across the prep table in general. Anybody else complaining about the idea of anything? The best thing about SimWorld Prep is you make your statement, you make your proof by what you do. Showing to your coach, showing to your teammates, showing across the table. And if you don't produce when you don't think it matters, I'm going to save it for the game. No, fam. That is not the reality of the world. It happens in the classroom. It happens on the practice floor. It happens in the warm-up. It happens in the stretches. If you don't put it there, you can't put it anywhere. And now with the tournament kicking off this week, all these teams have something to show. So that's what it is. Who you got coming out of the first round? Who you got coming out of the second round? We've talked about this a little bit. I know a lot of people have picked the ill just because of the run that they've been on and what they've been able to do. I know a few other people have looked at a couple other teams. Best Coast, for example, is another favorite by a lot of people across the table. Homework assignment for you as we kick off the games tomorrow. At me, tag me. Let me know who your dark horse is. Let me know who you think no one's talking about on the radar. Maybe they only have 1 win, 2 wins, or whatever. Haven't really shown us something this year. Give me one of those teams. One of those teams, and give me the why. Give me some evidence so I can judge it, all right? Pull out the old law books here and get at it. All right, fam. You know the deal. Holla at your boy. I want to hear everything. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's think about it. And no matter what else we do, you know the deal. Never let Jason Bourne borrow your car.
Like I need to talk to somebody.
Thank you for listening to Maestro.
Thank you again for checking out Maestro. Drop a tag below and give us a piece of your mind. See you next time.
Well, thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day.